Kickoff for the 2025 college football season is just around the corner. These are my best case and worst case scenarios for the Ole Miss Rebels this season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. Hotty Toddy hits the field sooner rather than later. The 2025 season for Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels is almost here. These are my best case and worst case scenarios for Ole Miss this upcoming season. And guys, just a quick reminder, no, these are not my predictions. This is simply my ceiling and floor for the Rebels this season as we first start and pull up Ole Miss's 2025 schedule. Because, of course, guys, as we all know, not all schedules are built equally, and the schedule controls a lot of what the ceiling and floor is for each of these teams. So for Ole Miss, and by the way, in 2024, who can forget the schedule Ole Miss had with 4 straight games? They essentially played nobody. It was 4 cupcakes in the non-conference, then got into SEC play. A little bit of a different vibe this year, which I think actually helps Ole Miss a little bit, because you think about last year, it kind of felt like the Rebels, they got lulled to sleep in that first month, and then you took on Kentucky, and of course you lose that game. And I don't mean to, open up an old wound or bring back bad memories for folks, but I don't think it helped Ole Miss kind of sleepwalking through the first month of the season. So you look at this schedule. You open up against Georgia State, then you jump right into SEC play. You were at Kentucky, and buddy, talking to some Ole Miss folks at SEC Media Days last week, let's just say the Rebels are looking forward to their shot at redemption against Kentucky. So that's your SEC opener at Kentucky. Week 3, you return home. You got Arkansas. Then you've got Tulane, which I think is a really interesting non-conference showdown. For those who missed it, we just saw they picked up BYU's quarterback out of the transfer portal this morning. So who knows what Tulane's going to be. Certainly a tricky non-conference game. Then you've got LSU coming to town the following week. That'll be a huge game. The Magnolia Bowl takes center stage. You then have a bye week. Then you got Washington State. You jump back to out of conference. You get Washington State, a John Mateerless Washington State. Then you jump back into SEC play. You're at Georgia the following week, at Oklahoma, South Carolina at home. Then you get the Citadel in non-conference play. Then you host the Florida Gators. You have a bye week, and then you are at Mississippi State. So this schedule's interesting, guys. I mean, it's more difficult than last year, certainly, but I think it's actually somewhat of a workable schedule. Yes, the game against LSU is tough. The game at Georgia is tough, certainly. Outside of that, I mean, you get Florida, who I think could be really good, but they're at home. But also, too, what's Florida going to be? You're at Oklahoma. What are they going to be? You got South Carolina at home. What are they going to be? Then you get Kentucky, Arkansas, and Mississippi State on your schedule. Those are 3 teams, guys. There's a good chance none of those 3 make a bowl game even. So it sets up where I think there's actually a pretty wide range of possibilities here, right? You got a brand new quarterback this season in Austin Simmons. You lost a lot defensively, but there's a lot of optimism. Talking to folks at SEC Media Days, again, that cover the Rebels, there is a lot of optimism that this team can actually be the team, because last year, right, it was the last dance. What's this team going to do with Jackson Dart and company? The last dance mentality. They don't make the college football playoff. There's a feeling maybe it's actually in an ironic way, it could end up being this team that fulfills that prophecy, if you will, and makes the college football playoff, gets Ole Miss to that peak, if you will. So a very interesting team the Ole Miss Rebels are. With that being said, guys, my best case and worst case scenarios, we'll start with best case. I'm going 10-2 for Hotty Toddy, believe it or not. I think this team actually can make a run to the college football playoff. Now, am I saying it's the most likely scenario? Not necessarily. That's why I'm saying it's the ceiling. But listen, if Austin Simmons is the dude that I think he can be, and many others believe he can be, and you trust Lane Kiffin to get the most out of him, he's going to put him in all the best positions to be successful. I think Austin Simmons could absolutely take the SEC by storm. Like, I think he could be the dude. You know, is he going to lead the SEC in passing yards, passing touchdowns? I don't know about that. But I think he could be the dude like we look at and say, dude, just kind of felt like he came out of nowhere, and he was, of the new starters, the best of the bunch. I think we absolutely could be having that conversation. So in a best-case scenario, though, you know, you need Austin Simmons to be that guy. You need Caden Lee on the outside to step up and be your big-time go-to playmaker at the wide receiver position. You need the defense, really, truly, to not take a massive step back. I think that's the thing that are really holding people back from buying stock in this Ole Miss team. You also need some of these teams on your schedule, guys. Listen, it's possible, but you need teams like Florida to underachieve and not be all that great. South Carolina, same thing. Oklahoma, same thing. Because then you've got Arkansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. That's 6 wins right there if you can take advantage. I haven't even gone to the non-conference, right? I mean, you've got 4 games in non-conference that you should win. I mean, going back to the schedule, Georgia State, Tulane, Washington State, and the Citadel, you should be 4-0 in non-conference play. I think there's a path to 10 wins. Guys, I just laid it out. And you don't even have to beat Georgia or LSU, right? So there's a path there to 10 wins, I think, because of a workable schedule. I think that's a big part of this, right? And that's what keeps the floor really high for Ole Miss, in my opinion, as well. Worst case, I got 7-5. I think even if they take a step back from last year, even if the defense, which could be significantly worse than it was a season ago, even if it is significantly worse, guys, I still think Ole Miss at minimum is going 7-5. I think the floor is pretty high. Like, I think Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin's a guy that I trust. He has established a level of consistency there in Oxford where even if they have a down year, it's not just going to completely fall off a cliff. Like, right, they're going to be fun to watch offensively, I think, at minimum. I mean, Austin Simmons will just have to massively disappoint for them to not be really fun to watch offensively. It just depends on how much they get out of the defense that I think is going to control the ceiling and really the floor of this football team as well. So I got worst case 7-5 because, guys, again, I still think you're going 4-0 in non-conference play. Like, even what Tulane added, and I mean, listen, you know, there's some flashy logos on this schedule in the non-conference, but you're going to beat Georgia State week 1, right? You're going to beat Washington State. They're not very good without John Mateer. They're not good at all. You still should you're going to beat the Citadel. Tulane's the only one I really look at and I say, man, like, that might be kind of a tricky game, but you're going to beat Tulane. So you're going to be 4-0 in non-conference, and you're not going worse than 3-5 in conference play with teams like Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas on that schedule. And I understand maybe some state fans will push back. Oh, my goodness, you know, you don't know about the rivalry, the Egg Bowl. I get it. I understand that. I get it. But realistically, I going to Starkville's tough. Who knows? But I still don't think you're going to go worse than 3-5 in conference play. And I think you are going to go undefeated in non-con. So, guys, best case, once again, I've got 10-2. Worst case, I've got 7-5. Would love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? What's your best case, worst case for Hottie Toddy in the 2025 season? Guys, that's going to do it all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel because, as always, we're brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is here to help you make every moment more. The app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Guys, if you already have an account, FanDuel Sportsbook offers great promotions every day to all users, including profit boost tokens and new features like Parlay Hub, where you can build your own same-game parlay, or choose from one of the popular SGPs already made for you in the Parlay Hub. If you haven't signed up yet, go to FanDuel.com/SECU to learn more. That's FanDuel.com/SECU, and get into the action with offers you won't want to miss. Guys, like I mentioned before, you can bet on literally anything and everything: college football, college basketball, NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, fight night, whatever it is. Just make sure you are playing with our friends at FanDuel over at FanDuel.com/SECU to get that $250 deposit bonus when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get that $250 deposit bonus today. Guys, once again, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, where we get your podcast. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you on the other side.